the last component, pro-character. And before you tell me that they're all characters, of course they are all characters, right? I mean, we've seen them. We know these politicians are all characters, but I'm speaking of character. As Romans 12:16 says, do not be haughty in mind, but associate with the lowly. Do not be wise in your own estimation. I have to tell you that most politicians, just by virtue of running, most of them are not familiar with this verse, okay? That's just bottom line, right? But this is truly a battle for the soul of the nation, as the Biden campaign has said. Do not be fooled. They tell you right there, it's a battle for the soul of the nation. Truth in advertising. If you don't think that this is for all the marbles, you're not paying attention. So, I've heard that one candidate is a narcissist. Our current president, he's a narcissist. Well, every presidential candidate ever, okay? I don't care if it's Biden, I don't care if it's Harris, I don't care if it's, maybe Pence is exempt from this, but every president, you have to be somewhat of a narcissist. How about our previous occupant of the office? Every presidential candidate, just to have the ability to go on, okay, indicates a certain level of narcissism. Otherwise, I'm the solution to an entire nation's problems, right? Certain level of narcissism. So that is not something that's endemic to Trump or Biden or anybody, okay? What about an abrasive tone? Well, our current president has such an abrasive tone. It's from Queens. I'm from Brooklyn. I don't find it abrasive. I find it musical, right? How about somebody who's got a more polished tone? Right? Biden, he speaks so softly. Yes, so softly because he didn't have a voice anymore. But when it comes down to an abrasive tone versus a polished tone, that's just a stylistic difference. And yet so many people are making this, oh, he's so loud, he's so abrasive. Why does he have to speak that way? He turns, I love his policies. Of course I love his policies. But his tone? Let's grow up. How about a peacemaker? Who's a not a pacemaker here, that may be another case, but peacemaker. Blessed are the peacemakers. There's one candidate in this race who has at this point, four Nobel Peace Prize nominations. One candidate who has zip, okay? Blessed are the peacemakers, I say. Boastful. President Trump is so boastful, always talking about the greatest of this, and you never saw anything like this, and whatever. Again, New York. I'll say it again, New York, okay? That's not boastful. That's just who we are, okay? But when it comes to boastful, let's look at this.
Quickly, I think
I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only need 123 credits, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Wow, that's impressive. Well, sir, there's more.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory.
Okay, so when it comes to one candidate who's boastful, at least he can boast of accomplishments. We have another candidate who is you wouldn't know how boastful he is because the press, I remember the '87 campaign. I was in college at the time, and I was interested in the Democratic primary at that time. I was following Biden. I liked that. I was interested in him. So I remember this very, very well. But again, the media, this is down the rabbit hole now, and the media will never bring this up. So when it comes to boastful, I'm going to call that a wash. Who's a womanizer? We all know Trump, right? He's a womanizer. Okay. Who committed adultery while he was married? We know who did that, except you have not heard reported the relationship, how the relationship between Jill Biden and Joe Biden began, and where the adultery was involved there. So as far as womanizer, and let us not forget the accusation here. You wanted to find out about the accusation of sexual abuse and harassment from Biden to Tara Reid. Oh, it was covered very well by 60 Minutes. It was covered pretty thoroughly by 60 Minutes. In Australia, you can see it online if you look it up. But as far as womanizer, both were. All I know is that, as far as I know now, while President Trump is in office, it's a clean slate. Adulterer, again, I've mentioned that already. We know President Trump's past, and now you know Biden's past as well. Again, a wash. Adultery is adultery. Who's a name caller? Oh, President Trump, he's so mean. He's cruel. He's callous. His tweets are so mean. He calls people names. How about this one? Lying dog-faced pony soldier. Trump supporters, dregs of society, chumps. President Trump, you're a clown. This clown. Name calling? I'm going to call that a wash as well. Character, so far, no advantage one or the other, okay? Who's a liar?
A story that Joe Biden has told before.
This guy climbed down a ravine, carried this guy up on his back under fire.
He's a terrific
Afghanistan
storyteller.
as vice president
Absolutely.
when he was asked to pin a silver star on a heroic Navy captain.
I said, sir, I don't want the damn thing. Do not pin it on me, sir. Please, sir.
Ultimately, the Post reports Biden got the time period, the location, the heroic act, the type of medal, the military branch, and the rank of the recipient wrong, as well as his own role in the ceremony.
And it's the God's truth, my word.
My word is a Biden. And we know what that's worth, okay? The story he told, very moving, very powerful. How much of it was true? Sure, it was all true, but he had nothing to do with it. He wasn't there, okay? Somebody's a racist. Who's a racist? Is it racist? Why is President Trump called a racist? Is it because he didn't denounce white supremacists 39 times? He needed to go for the golden 40? Okay, would that have made him move from one category to the other? Is it because he's for legal immigration and he does not want to see human trafficking? He doesn't want to see children abused and used as tools by these coyotes. Amazing how the term racist can be thrown around. Look up some of Joe Biden's statements over the years and you'll see who's racist and who's not. Remember who endorses Joe Biden. Richard Spencer, the king of white supremacy. That Charlottesville rally with the tiki torches, he led that. Is he pro-Trump? No, he's pro-Biden. Have you heard one media pundit, one reporter, one journalist, quote unquote, say, Joe Biden, Richard Spencer has endorsed you. Would you like to disavow his endorsement? Not one peep. Who's a racist? Who's a plagiarist?
Neil Kinnock.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania and come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock,
instead of plagiarizing him.
the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
But CBS News found a tape of a second instance.
It reappeared in the New York Times with a new charge. that Biden had appropriated a famous litany from the late Robert Kennedy about what the gross national product cannot measure.
It cannot measure the health of our children,
The health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit.
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb
things again. Yeah, we know. Even his campaign slogan, what is Build Back Better, but a alliterative way of saying make America great again. Build back better. Build what back better? Build America back better. In other words, make it great like it used to be. Even the campaign slogan plagiarizes President Trump. This is why he dropped out of the presidential race. He was leading in 1987. I was there, I remember. And he dropped out because he's not only a plagiarist, a serial plagiarist. I say advantage character, Trump. How about corruption? Laptop gate, does that mean anything to you? You can read about it now. In some instances you can't, but only you have to tune into a certain network or read certain pages, certain websites to understand how deep this corruption goes and who the big guy is. We know who the big guy is. And he wants to wet his beak with some of the money from China and from Russia. Look at this. The entire impeachment debacle was about this very issue, which right now, 1 week before the election, the networks and social media are desperately trying to keep you from knowing the truth, even though there is a confirmed FBI investigation right now regarding what was found on that laptop. You may not hear that, but it was reported and confirmed. Why is Joe hiding? Where's Joe hiding Biden? Why won't he answer these questions? Don't know. Where did he get for questions like, for example, family wealth? Both candidates are quite wealthy. I know where Trump's wealth came from. I've read his books. I followed him from the 80s on. I've been in his Trump Tower. I know where Trump's family wealth comes from. How does a guy 47 years in public service accumulate this amount of family wealth? It raises at least a question mark, doesn't it? And what about the agenda? Is he truly leftist? Or is he simply going to allow someone else to come in after him who is a Trojan horse?
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband, and I am Kamala's running mate. You all think I'm kidding, don't you?
No, we don't think you're kidding. That's the issue. We know you're Harris's running mate, and that sooner or later she is going to wind up filling your office, the term of your office. And that is terrifying. Why is it terrifying?
You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage. But
yeah, well, actually, the nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator. You supported the Green New Deal.
What's
you supported
funny?
Medicare for all.
You're the
You've
most liberal
supported
senator.
legalizing marijuana. Joe Biden doesn't support those things.
Or yes, I am.
So are you going to bring the policies, those progressive policies that you supported as senator, into a Biden administration?
what I will do, and I promise you this, and this is what Joe wants me to do.
Now the wheels are
This was
spinning.
part of
What am
our
I going to
deal.
say? What am I going to say?
I will always share with him my lived experience as it relates to any issue that we confront. And I promised Joe that I will give him that perspective and always be honest with him.
And is that a socialist or progressive perspective?
No. No, it is the perspective of a woman who grew up a black
Why
child
is
in
that
America, who was also a prosecutor, who also has a mother who arrived here at the age of 19 from India, who also, you know, likes hip hop. Like, what do you want to know?
We want to know if you are indeed a socialist who is going to present a socialist agenda once you're running the White House. That's what we want to know, Kamala. We're curious. And it's interesting because you watch Kamala and you see her tell. She's a terrible poker player. She'd be awful. Because her tell, when she's uncomfortable and she gets a question that she doesn't want to be honest to answer, she will laugh. And that was her tell. She did it twice within a 2-minute, minute and a half clip. You are the most liberal senator. If I were the most liberal senator and that was my claim to fame and that was my agenda, I'm following up representing a liberal state, I would wear that proudly and say, yeah, you darn right I am. I'll stand up for liberal ideology 7 days a week. But she laughed. She didn't want to admit it. And are you a socialist? I'm ha ha ha. Not funny, because the joke may well be on the American people. And so we have finally the resistance. From the beginning of President Trump's, before he even took office, not my president, not my president, not my, you see, oh, and this one's really cute, you see, because they do a little Hitler mustache. Oh, Trump is Hitler, get it? Ha ha ha. Undermining the president from the very beginning. So clever, so funny, not my president, before he even did one thing in office. Maxine Waters, impeach 45. From the first month, from January, February of the year he took office, 17, impeach him. Impeach him for what? For being Trump. Finally, the House did impeach President Trump over the issue of investigating former Vice President Biden over the Ukraine issue, just what the FBI is investigating today. How interesting, what the media has blacked out and doesn't want you to know right before an election. How interesting, how convenient a coincidence. All I know is that someone has accomplished a lot of stuff in 47 months versus someone who has accomplished very little in 47 years. Joe Biden, my friends, is the very definition of a swamp thing. President Trump came into office with a mandate to drain the swamp, and I think Joe Biden epitomizes the Washington swamp. So finally, if you value promise-keeping over political mendacity, the Democrat Party is not for you. I will not tell you whom to vote for, but I have made my opinion very clear, okay? And we all must follow our own consciences in who we pull the lever for. I have done the best that I can in providing a comprehensive overview of the candidates, of the party, of the issues, and how it would affect you and me. The last thing we have to do is pray for our republic. But first,